97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hennick.
Welcome into the official start of the NFL year. Yes, the NFL year as of 4 p.m. today is officially turning the page to 2024, and all the speculation and all the questions that we have are all becoming official. It's officially official that guys like Saquon Barkley and Bryce Huff, CJ Gardner-Johnson, they are all back here in Philadelphia officially now. So we're into all the Eagles moves, kind of give you a little rundown of what the Eagles have done. Plus, we are going to get into some perspective on just a little, what's going on around the NFL. We're only on for a half hour today for game night because we have a college basketball Big Ten doubleheader coming up in less than 30 minutes from now. So if you want to jump in on the Eagles talk, do it now. NFL talk, I got you covered. 609-403-0973 or your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app, downloaded for free. Thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle. So let's get into the latest with the Eagles. So the Eagles have been tweeting out officially a lot of different notes and information going on. So like I said, it's officially official that Saquon Barkley is here. And it's officially official that Bryce Huff is an Eagle. Also, news came out earlier today that Jake Elliott re-signed his contract with the Eagles. So Jake Elliott will be a Bird for another 4 years. He's in pursuit of trying to reach that designation as the greatest kicker in Eagles franchise history. Also, they made official that they are signing Matt Hennessy, who is a versatile interior lineman who could play center and guard. So the Eagles are already bolstering the interior, the offensive line without Jason Kelce. We'll get to Kelce in just a minute. Also, Zach Bond is officially an Eagle, special teams ace. That's what he brings to the table. So Eagles staying active, and as I mentioned, CJ Gardner-Johnson. And I know for a lot of you Eagle fans, this CJ Gardner-Johnson situation, you're conflicted about it because CJ Gardner-Johnson had an incredible 1 year in Philadelphia, but the Eagles and him could not come to an agreement financially for his return. So he left and couldn't get a better deal in the free agent market. And then he goes on to sign a 1 year deal with the Detroit Lions. And, you know, he had an all right year. He was injured for a chunk of the year. It's hard to really read into too much when it comes to him in terms of that. But I think that CJGJ, as people like to call him, I think that there is a feeling because of what he said last year that some people still have some angst about him. CJ Gardner-Johnson last year on his Twitch stream, when asked about what he didn't like and what he did like about playing in Philadelphia, said this.
All right, my least favorite thing is the people. It's obnoxious and I can't stand the The weather was a dub. I with the weather. It's cold, but I what it does.
He didn't like the people. He didn't like the Eagle fans. But yet, he's back now. And like I said, I got to give CJ credit because CJ has gone on social media and backtracked and kind of, I don't want to say he like overtly apologized, but he definitely came out and said that, hey, I shouldn't have said what I said. I'm glad to be back in Philadelphia. And it feels a little prodigal son-ish, right? With CJ Garner Johnson. Because, for those never been to a Sunday school class or never been to church, the prodigal son story is a pretty simple one. It's basically that a rich man's son asks for his inheritance basically up front, leaves, goes out into the world, blows all of his money, and basically is poor and destitute and has to come crawling back to his family. And so CJ Garner Johnson is in a similar boat. The Eagles wanted to keep him last year. He thought he was worth more than he really was. And what happened? He ended up in a situation where you have to figure that he realized, you know what? I had a good thing. I wonder if I can go back. The Eagles were reportedly interested in a reunion, and then CJ Garner Johnson's people worked out a good deal for him. Okay. It's not a deal with as much money as maybe he wanted a year ago, but he's back. And I think that for Philadelphia, this is a great upgrade because they desperately needed to revamp the safety position. Now, according to Derek Gunn, they are now out of the Justin Simmons sweepstakes. So, it kind of makes you feel a little meh because of the fact that when you look at the Eagles secondary, you still feel like they could use more, and maybe they will still get more. It just looks like it might not be Justin Simmons, but CJ Garner Johnson is a good step in the right direction. And according to CJ Garner Johnson, it's all good. Apparently, he doesn't. CJ Garner Johnson, I give him credit for putting out a quote unquote apology. Okay. The exact quote from CJ Garner Johnson's quote: I do owe the fans of Philadelphia an apology. Regardless, this is an amazing place. We have had some memories together. Let's go get us one. # fly Eagles fly. And I think that kind of shows you that he realizes I done messed up. And you know what? The fact that he's willing to say I messed up and I shouldn't have said what I said, that's all you really want. That's all you really want from these celebrities, these athletes, or whatever you want to label them, because we all are all human. We all have moments of frustration. I'm sure for CJ, he had some ill will toward Philadelphia because he wanted to stay here. He knew it was a winning organization, and he kind of got sent out into the wilderness and had to go basically be a hired gun for the Lions, and didn't have a great year because, again, he got injured over there. So he didn't even play the full year. So, I as someone who was very anti bringing CJ Garner Johnson back myself, I love the fact that he has come out. He's apologized. He said he was wrong. He's owning it. And now the Eagles are slowly but surely revamping their entire team. The image, the attitude, the look. Absolutely wild. Get some of your text messages right now. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN. Mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Jeff from Motion City chimes in. So I'm a huge fan of the Barkley signing. Major help for the offense. He also goes on to say, there we go. He says, it's put up or shut up time for CJ. Let's go. Yeah, Jeff, the CJ thing, to me, it's very clear. It's very clear that he's ready to put up. And I think that CJ, he's also young enough that I think that he's in a position where he can still have room to grow and get better. It's not like he is like 32, 33 years old. No, he is still in his 20s. I think he's 27? Let me double check. He's 26, turning 27. Okay, so my bad, CJ. I put 6 months on you, but still, the point is that CJ Gardner-Johnson is still in his 20s, so it is a great ad. The Barkley thing I think is very interesting because this is what James Palmer had to say about the Saquon Barkley edition for the Eagles on NFL Network.
What comes in with Kellen Moore running this offense. My understanding is what they're trying to implement schematically in the play action game and how they're trying to put all that together. They need a 3-down back that can operate all of that. That was not DeAndre Swift. That wasn't Miles Sanders before him. Barkley can fill that. They also in the building, I'm told, value that running back versus a linebacker matchup.
So that gives you a real insight in another part of the reason why the Saquon Barkley move was made for Eagle fans. Not every Eagle fan is like Jeff from Ocean City who looks at Saquon and says, I like the signing. You heard James Palmer explain it right there. They did this because they look at Saquon as a guy who is a fit for what they want to do. They want a 3-down back. They want a guy who can be out there for all 3 downs. They want someone who's a great linebacker mismatch, I should say. So that's why Barkley is here. They view him as something they have never had before in recent years. I think you can easily make the argument that Saquon Barkley is the best running back in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform since LaShawn McCoy. I think you could easily make that argument. George Summers Point chimes in at 609-403-0973, says, hey, Josh, if the Eagles do not get a backup quarterback in the free agent market, maybe potentially trade for Justin Fields, who do you think they should sign to back up Hurts? Thanks as always, George and Summers Point. The Justin Fields thing to me is interesting because I don't know exactly where the Fields as option Philadelphia speculation started, but I feel like it's become a rampant thing on the internet and a rampant topic for speculation. Well, look, if you're giving up a day 3 pick for Justin Fields, sure, I don't mind him coming in here. Is he my number 1 pick for that position? Probably not. You know, I think that the problem for Philadelphia is that they in the past, they are a organization that has always valued the backup quarterback. Okay. Even before Nick Foles, this is an organization that has gone out of their way to make sure that they have backup quarterbacks. And as of right now, if I had to pick anyone from the list of guys out there, I think Ryan Tannehill is still available. I would like to see that be the backup quarterback. If I had to pick someone. If it's not Tannehill, I would probably say is Blaine Gabbert available. And the reason I'm bringing up Gabbert in Tannehill is because they're both athletic guys. They're not as athletic as Jalen Hurts, but they can still move around in the pocket and you can still run the RPO respectively with those guys if you had to. The problem with people like Jimmy Garoppolo and Joe Flacco and all those guys, they're not the most mobile guys, right? And at least we know that a guy like Tannehill has been successful in the NFL and he can come into Philadelphia. He's 35, turning 36 years old. Tannehill is a guy that I like to see as a backup quarterback, but that's just me. We'll get to more text on the other side. Dan from EHT, get to you and more on the other side. Josh Hennig hanging out with you for the half-hour edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
It's Sixers Buck tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN. With the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Paul Reed, three-point shot up. It's good. Ball in the Gotham City. He puts it in.
Coverage begins at 8 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
Do you love a good cigar almost as much as your family? Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you can find that perfect cigar at Smoker's Haven. With 5 New Jersey locations, Smoker's Haven has the finest selection of cigars in the area, like Ashton, My Father's, Romeo and Julieta, Monte Cristo, and more. All from the finest tobacco leaves and hand-rolled by the world's finest cigar makers. All locations are fully open. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. See all they have and their locations at smokershavennj.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wine.
Drink responsibly. B21.
With GMF financing, qualified buyers excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales.
If you're waiting for the best deal on a new or pre-owned vehicle, stop waiting and listen to these incredible deals at Bennett Chevrolet during March Markdown, where you can save up to 20% on new Chevys. Yes, up to 20% savings with GM supplier employee pricing. Plus, you keep all the rebates. No games, no gimmicks. Just the best offer you'll find anywhere. Plus, there's available 1.9% financing. And Bennett is paying a whopping $10,000 cash for any clunker towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. That is a minimum 10 grand regardless of condition or miles. Can you imagine how much more you'll get for a good quality trade? While Bennett Chevy offers the best deals you can find on any new or pre-owned vehicle, you can always count on a wonderful car buying experience with our non-commissioned sales team, who are paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Nobody beats a Bennett deal. Nobody. Together, let's drive at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
At Target, our prices for Easter are so low, you can put all your eggs in one basket. Surprise them with Target exclusive Favorite Day treats, like our unique chocolate bunny and a cute basket, all from just $4. Add in some fun with a 6-pack of bubbles, 50-piece sidewalk chalk, and super soft stuffed animals, all from $5. And get great family picks with new Easter looks. It's easy with women's and girls' dresses for only $20 and under. Low prices on everything for Easter? Now that's Target.
Champion Exteriors, Champion, the one you call first. Voted best of the best in Jersey Shores. For roofing and siding, windows and doors. 24-month financing, no payments, no interest. You're certified GAF elite contractors. Champion-exteriors.com. Champion Exteriors, Champion, the one you call first.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to mattblattkianj.com for more details. That's mattblattkianj.com.
It's gotta be a
Matt Blatt Kia.
I have a secret. I use Secret Whole Body Deodorant because more than just my armpits stink.
Oh, can I use it where my bra rubs under my...
Oh, yeah.
And what about down there? My...
Totally. 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend it. So I tried it, and now I get 72 hours of freshness from my pits to my...
Ooh, I love that it's a spray.
Me too. And it comes in sticks and creams too. Go get your Secret Whole Body Deodorant.
Have you heard of naloxone? It's a simple nasal spray that can stop an overdose and save a life. Naloxone is available for free at most New Jersey pharmacies. No questions asked. Visit stopoverdoses.nj.gov to learn more. From New Jersey Human Services.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Let's get some more text before we wrap up the half-hour edition of Game Night. Big Ten basketball coming up in about 6:30 is going to be the tip-off. So we'll get you all that information for the games here in just a moment. But first, your text over at 609-403-0973. Dan EHC says, did you hear about the possibility of trying to get Justin Fields? Also, Johnson is really good. However, injuries galore. Two things. One, I think the Johnson injury thing is a little bit overhyped, because when you go back and actually look at his career, he has played at least 12 games in every season except for last year in Detroit. So I don't think it's injuries galore. I think that football is a violent sport and most players get injured, right? I don't look at it as a guy who missed 4 games in a season. You know, there were a bunch of those 16-game seasons where he only played 12 games. Well, I'm not gonna be mad at him about that. I mean, his first 2 years in the NFL, he played 31 out of 32 games. You know, I'm not gonna hate on him for that. I think the injury thing is a little hype because he was injured last year. The possibility of trying to get Fields, look. Would Fields be a guy? Yeah. And Steven Ventnor says, you know, he would do it for a 3rd round pick. I wouldn't do it. I would do it for a 5th round pick. To me, I'm only use a 3rd round pick if I'm in a position to not get the player I really want in the 3rd round. Then I consider it. But I'm assuming that you will be able to get a good player in the 3rd round. Steven Mender also chimes in at 609-403-0973. He says, bringing CJ Gardner back was huge. Love the mental games he plays with opposing offenses, lines up on the tight ends and slot receivers that allows our corners to dominate like they did 2 years ago. That's a great point by Steven Ventnor, because I think one of the things that gets overlooked about the addition of CJ Gardner Johnson is the fact that CJ Gardner Johnson is going to make life easier for Darius Slay and for James Bradbury. And you're hoping that with the arrival of Vic Fangio, that you are going to have a defensive coordinator who's going to use all these players much better than Sean Desai and Matt Patricia did last year. So I definitely do think that is a point. One more element with the Justin Fields thing. I think that if you were to bring Fields in, I would be intrigued about how Justin would feel about that. I think Justin Fields is a starting quarterback in the NFL who went to a horrible team and a horribly run organization that has had so much turmoil and has been an absolute mess. I would love to see Justin Fields in an environment where he can be his best self, where he can just be a backup quarterback and not have to worry about all the other stuff that goes along with that. But I don't know how he would feel about being a backup. You know, I would curious to see how he would handle that, how he would approach that, what his mentality would be. I don't think he'd be a bad teammate at all, but I do think that when you have a guy that talented and you look around the league and you realize that there are some places that he could be a quarterback at where he would be theoretically an improvement, Minnesota Vikings, potentially maybe the Seattle Seahawks, a couple other teams, it's certainly possible that Justin Fields is being overlooked, to say the least. All right, thanks for all the texts that came in there. Coming up next, the Big Ten, Rutgers, Penn State, all that more coming up in the doubleheader tonight. Big Ten Conference Tournament right here on 97.3 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig. I'll catch you tomorrow.
Listen to Greeny with Mike Greenberg on 97.3 ESPN.
If you're a Giant fan and you're calling Saquon Barkley a traitor, I don't know what to tell you. Saquon Barkley almost humiliated himself, begging the Giants to meet him halfway. A third of
For the YouTube only audience, I just want to touch on one topic, and it's not a topic NFL wise I really want to talk about when it comes to the radio side on 97.3 ESPN, because I'm very well aware that politics is not a topic that many people in today's world want to talk about. And people tend to go to sports as a form of escapism away from the politics and the hard news cycle. But this Aaron Rodgers story with Robert Kennedy running for president, I think is an absolute joke. Not because Robert F. Kennedy would consider him for a VP candidate, but for the fact that there are people who are treating this like it's a, end of the world. Like, oh, how could we ever consider a pro athlete to be running? And they're acting like Aaron Rodgers is this like evil, dangerous individual. And I would just warn people that, there was a time in this country, not to do a history lesson, there was a time in this country where people like Abraham Lincoln were considered extremists. There was a time in this country where Teddy Roosevelt was considered a radical progressive. We throw around these adjectives, these descriptions to people, and I don't know how many people actually understand what they're even saying half the time. I'm not interested in Aaron Rodgers' politics. I personally don't care. Because frankly, I'm sure that we can find YouTube channels and we can find Twitter accounts and we can find Instagram accounts where people say things that make Aaron Rodgers probably look pretty tame. But because he's in the New York market and because Rodgers had turned himself into a lightning rod and because Robert F. Kennedy is himself a political lightning rod, there are people with political biases who want to trash these people. And until Aaron Rodgers comes out and says one way or the other what he is planning to do, I'm not going to be the guy who overreacts to this stuff. I'm not. Frankly, you can make an argument against a lot of people who run for political office. They're not quote unquote qualified for the job. But I'm not going to be in that conversation because at the end of the day, for every person who wants to criticize Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure I can find somebody that person likes, that person follows on social media that I can ask a lot of questions about. I'll leave it at that. I'm Josh Hennig here on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig on Twitter, Joshua S. Hennig on Instagram, 973ESPN.com. And I'll be back on tomorrow at 6 p.m. on 973 ESPN FM. And of course, right here on my YouTube channel. Have a great everybody. I'll catch you later.